Hi, I'm wearing an Argyle sweater, which means you can't refute my arguments. I want to know what the oligarchs have in store for us now. A couple weeks ago, I did a video on the truth about the Great Reset, and I talked about stakeholder capitalism and about the role of the global lockdown in the transformation of the world in such a way that we've never seen before in history. If you want to watch that, you can click the link below. But you don't have to watch that to watch this. But I think you'll love that. In this video, I want to continue that commentary by asking a simple question. Have you noticed how certain phrases suddenly come into vogue and everyone's using them, seemingly overnight? The latest one is on the lips of just about every world leader, every CEO, and every elite overlord envisioned by the World Economic Forum as ideal and praiseworthy. Just overnight, this is popular. I'm talking about build back better. Build back better is the latest word salad served up by the oligarchs for our happy, satisfied consumption. And like the terms Black Lives Matter, pro-choice, and hate has no home here, Build Back Better has been designed to be immune to any objections. I mean, do you want to build back worse? Do you even want to build back at all? What's wrong with you? Well, the term was first adopted in 2015 at the UN World Conference on Disaster Risk and Reduction. But it really didn't gain a lot of traction back then because they didn't have an inciting incident for it to make sense. Well, that inciting incident came with the lockdown due to the largely non-lethal, largely preventable, largely treatable CCP virus that was allowed to make its way all around the world from Wuhan thanks to the Communist Chinese Party. It came with the grinding down of business owners over time and of their families, of the wrecking of national economies. It came with the largest spike in suicides ever recorded. And it came with the covering up of hundreds of millions of human faces so we can all live in a yellow zombie world. All for a disease so terrifying, so deadly, you have to be tested to know that you have it. Now, the concept of Build Back Better has a nice ring to it for people who aren't really paying attention to what's going on in front of their faces on the other side of their masks. What is being built back is, in fact, not better, but far worse than what was destroyed by the bizarre overreaction to the CCP virus and the Great Reset, which is being planned as we speak. I know, crazy conspiracy theory, right? I mean, who on earth really believes there's any connection at all between COVID-19 and the Great Reset? Would you believe, as Maxwell Smart would say, the founder and CEO of the World Economic Forum himself, the cuddly-looking hair Dr. Klaus Schwab? Mr. Schwab spells out his plans in the Instabook with a super subtle title, COVID-19, The Great Reset. Now notice the title here is literally saying that the Great Reset is the virus. Don't believe me, believe the book. Here's a couple of quotes from this harmless collection of boring, abstract economic thoughts. First page in the introduction, right off the bat. Quote, "No business or industry will be spared from the impact of these changes. The fault lines of the world, most notably social divides, lack of fairness, absence of cooperation, failure of global governance and leadership, now lie exposed as never before, and people feel the time for reinvention has come," unquote. People. Now, I wonder what he means by that. Whatever he means, he certainly does not mean the first three words of the U.S. Constitution, we the people. On page 22, we find a charming metaphor of the world as a cruise ship. Quote, "If we 7.5 billion people are now stuck together on a virus-infected cruise ship, does it make any sense to clean and scrub only our own personal cabins while ignoring the corridors and the air wells outside through which the virus travels? The answer is clearly no. Yet this is what we've been doing. Since we are now in the same boat, humanity has to take care of the whole boat, the boat as a whole," unquote. Yeah, I have to hand it to these people for coming up with pretty brilliant bumper sticker images. The idea of introducing the New World Order through a certain vague threat to our health, like a world cruise ship infected with a virus, is a pretty effective ploy. Now, I just used the phrase New World Order, which means some of you are just about to turn off this video. But before you go, you need to see a short clip of the man who gave the term New World Order international currency, especially in the United States. The name of that man is George H.W. Bush, and the context was his announcement on January 16, 1991, of the invasion of Iraq. Again, don't believe me. Believe the late head of the CIA and later President of the United States.
This is an historic moment. We have in this past year made great progress in ending the long era of conflict and Cold War. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
So this new world order has to do with humanity enforcing the rule of law, but he doesn't mention any police agency to make that law stick, nor does he explain how the scandal-ridden United Nations will magically become a reliable force for good. But we can trust him. He used to run the CIA. The fact is that the New World Order spells the end of individual national sovereignty with its distinct group of patriots bound by language and culture. Why do you think the mainstream media spends so much time and energy attacking nationalism and populism? Because it goes against the grain. Because nationalism and populism go exactly against the grain of what people like Klaus Schwab and his stakeholder capitalist friends are cooking up for us. Who are the stakeholders again? The stakeholders here are not working men and women. They're not the labor force at all. In fact, properly speaking, they're not even management. They're above management, which is the very definition of oligarchy. Not only the World Economic Forum, but I'm talking about the Business Roundtable, the Bilderberg Group, the people behind TED Talks, liberal ideas worth spreading. The people who designed masterclass.com. I'm talking about CEOs of tech giants. 99% of all American newspapers. I'm talking Bill Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Gavi Vaccine Alliance. I'm talking about Joe Biden and the Democratic Party media industrial complex. Stakeholders also include heads of state, like Justin Trudeau of Canada, Angela Merkel of Germany, and the bulk of the EU, most South American countries with wrecked economies. All the globalist liberals. Of course, globalist liberal is a tautology. And speaking of globalist liberals, as I mentioned in my Great Reset video, I'm also talking about Pope Francis and the corrupt cabal currently running the Vatican. Again, don't believe me, believe Francis, who tweeted this week, quote, "To help our society build back better, inclusion of the vulnerable must also entail efforts to promote their active participation," unquote, end of tweet. Thanks. Does anyone know if Dominion software was used in the election of Pope Francis? Anyone? In sum, build back better is code for begin the Great Reset, which is code for launch the fourth industrial revolution, which is code for establish the new world order, which is another way of saying be on the lookout for world communist revolution, because that's the terminus point, brothers and sisters. That is the main goal, the highest prize for progressives, whether they themselves know it or not. That's the direction we're heading. And the means to that end are always described in the most fluffy humanitarian sounding terms and phrases, all of which are done for our good by our superiors who definitely know best. What could possibly go wrong apart from inconveniences like CRISPR gene editing mistakes that will not only cause cancer and designer babies, but also throw all of humanity into unspeakable chaos? Apart from that, if you don't want this world to become a godless, demonic swamp run by smiling billionaire terrorists, now is the time to start thinking hard about your response. I want to give a hat tip to Dennis Rancourt, and I'll invite you to check out the link below. It's a 1957 scientific article on Biderman's chart of coercion. Yes, mind-blowing. This chart explains the motives and the modus operandi of the people who are paving the Build Back Better highway to hell. This is the kind of thing, by the way, we talk about inside Coffin Nation, a worldwide community of culture builders. Now is also the time to start praying, and praying with all your heart, even if you're not even sure you believe. Because as Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen said, it's impossible to lose your footing on your knees. Subscribe to this channel. Love to hear your comments. Check out coffination.com and click on the links that I mentioned in this video, and I hope to see you real soon. In the meantime, be a saint. What else is there?